All right, hello everyone. So today is Tuesday, 5th of September. I've got gold here. Now, remember with gold, we had 1948 and 51 yesterday. I said you could sell the highs. I said be mindful also because PSD could be breaking upwards, but we would only be confirming that if it broke above the 51 because on the daily we had that 48.51 zone. The market at Astro hours sold up. You could have actually sold at these hours to push down, okay, simply because this hour was done, as you can see, and then the market pushed down. So a retracement into the Astro hours, it's good to sell down again. Now below we've got targets 1932 here, 1928 here, but 1932 is no longer on the cards. We've got 66, so if the market goes up to 1942 or 51, we're good to sell on the daily. Okay, but if it breaks above that, and then you better be careful because what's going to happen is your weekly breakout is also going to break out the daily and should push up. Okay, so with gold we're a bit in a bit of a dilemma. The reason I say we're in a bit of a dilemma is this: on the daily we should also have room to push back down into the blue zone. Therefore, timing and pricing are going to be essential. Now, this 1932 level was from yesterday, but you can also keep this here. This green zone is okay. In fact, what I'm going to do is just move it right onto the line here. Okay. If the market is on the weekly pivot here, if the market dips down, we're around here, you can go up into Astro hours. Okay. This is an Astro hour where the market is like pulling it in. So here we're going to have some kind of a sudden move towards 1030, and that sudden move looks like it's pretty much going to be going upwards. So if we go up here or into this zone, this 1942, 1940 zone here, could also be an opportunity to sell again. At the top of the market, just bear with me here, if I tighten this up a little bit, okay, this is also looking like a distribution here at, as you can see, a distribution kind of a situation. See the gap here? Okay, this has got room to come down. 1928, 1927 is a target on the daily. So coming into this 1928, 1927 is not a bad idea. To sell in order to come down, I think is okay. It should go up first before you want to sell, because obviously there's a lot of liquidity here. All right, so just going up a little bit into this zone and then selling off is looking like a better option. And then we should come lower to this zone, maybe even lower, as you can see the gaps here. All right, so sell the highs if the market goes up into Astro hours to push further down. Okay, and like I said on the daily, we've got this zone here that the market should still come and fill in before going up. Obviously, gold is going to be hot, so when it comes down, we should be buyers on those good levels to push up. All right, and these are also my astrological trend lines here, the planetary trend lines. Should they also come back into this zone, there'll be really, really good levels to go long. Let's take a look at SP 500. Let's do it on the daily. Now, remember, guys, with the SP 500, we're looking to short. Okay, so let me just make this a little bigger. With all of the indices, we're looking to go short, right? And remember, I talked about this as well. The market's pretty much at this double top, but any push up, if the market goes up at all, we're looking for opportunities to sell the market, all right? And I talked about that earlier on as well. While the market was falling into this, we said we'd go into there. I said no selling here. Market went up nicely. The white line I drew, good buy kiss, swept up the stops. So all good. All right. So from here, what to do? If the market goes up into our PST levels, we can definitely sell off again at Astro hours. So match your hours with the technical analysis. Now, a place to sell today, if it does go up, is 63, which is going to be there. All right, 4,529. So 4,529. Okay, not a bad spot to be selling around here. Okay, so if the market does come up, we can sell off. Yesterday, this is how it looked. This is the Astro hour. So you could have definitely sold on all of that hour. It's just like beautiful coming into Astro hours. We're up there and then a beautiful downwards motion. So today in the US session as well, we've got room to kind of like go somewhere for a sell-off. So from this zone going up and then selling off is not a bad idea. So the market should come up a little bit today. Better to trade this on the New York session simply because the hours are looking better. Until then, we've got a few sudden moves. Also, we've got some sudden moves in the New York session as well. So if you're going to trade the indices, do it on the 4:15 kind of time zone or after like 4:15 to 5 o'clock. Because until then, we're going to have some pushy moves in the market. Okay, a good place also might be the 2:15 to 2:30. Okay, in that time period where the market might actually take a good turn if it is at the right price. Don't just jump in anywhere because it's an Astro hour. Just match it to your technical analysis. You know what I always say, buy the lows, sell the high. So if the market comes down into these lower levels where they bought before, those are the times when the Astro hours that you should go long. If we're sellers, that's obviously depending on the bias. If we're selling, obviously wait for the market to come up before you sell off. Okay. And if you're a buyer, wait for the market to come down, okay, to where they bought before you buy, and do it at Astro hours. All right. So that's just how to do it. So with the indices, generally speaking, with all of them, we are good to short. Like I said last week and also yesterday, reminded you that a double top can also be forming. If it does, it's actually good for us. Okay, so if it does like kind of pop up there and then, go a little higher, fill in a bit of gap here, and then sell off, that would be nice because we've got even highs here where the stop losses are. So if the market pushes up again, then don't be afraid to sell. Okay, so if the market goes up again, to clean out the stop losses here, don't be afraid to sell off again. All right, I put these levels in here. 62 is 4,530, like I said, and also 65 is 4,554. 4,554 is a bit out there. Okay, so initially just stick with this one. If it does come up or the daily pivot or slightly higher, because there's a bit of a gap here. So if you just sizzle up a little bit, and then we can sell off at those levels. 4,554. I'll just bring it down here. Okay, just in case. All right. But my attitude towards this is, as the market goes up, sell it off. That's what I've been saying before as well. Euro dollar. Now, with the euro dollar, I said you got to be careful. Why? Because on the weekly, we're right on the support. So on a pullback, going up is not a bad idea. And yesterday, what did I say yesterday? I said this zone is okay to go long, but you must cover your trade on the daily. And yesterday's daily was right here. Okay, this is today's daily pivot. So yesterday's daily pivot was right there. So what could we do with the euro dollar? If the euro dollar goes up, we should be selling as well. If you take a look at the daily here, we've got room to come down. And this zone is tricky, okay? So you don't want to be selling right here. The only time you want to be selling in this range is if it breaks through then it comes back into this range, then this range will become a sell zone for us. Until then, you can only sell if the market goes up, let's say into 1.0825 on the weekly. Let's see if there is a level at all. That level would be nice, the 48.49, 1.0853.44. So those levels are up there. The weekly pivot, definitely. Okay, so if the market goes up into the weekly pivot, I would definitely be a seller on the weekly pivot as well. So you got the weekly and this zone. If it comes up into the Astro hours, it's sellable. I put this target here yesterday, 0736. So market can also go down there. Why? Because on the weekly, you got the 43 and the 42, and that's your 1.0737 there. Okay, so any break below that, then you know we're going like nicely down, and then on any retracement I should be just selling downwards. Okay, so with the euro dollar as well, just be careful not to be a buyer on the not to be a seller on the support. If you want to do something, if you have a bias, like we've got a bias on shorting it, let it come up for you to sell it off. Let's take a look at Dow Jones, Nasdaq, Bitcoin. Obviously those levels are what I marked in. Okay, so if the market comes back into the weekly or goes slightly above these, okay, gets into this zone, for example, okay, in between those wicks there, and it's an Astro hour, no problem, go for it. Then you can sell it off. Now, as with all indices, we're kind of like parallel. Also, guys, I put the swing days yesterday as well. So just make sure you use your swing days as well, because those will really help you out. For example, SP 500 Monday was a swing day. As you can see, the market, swung down nicely from those high levels at the Astro hours. Also, Monday, I said, it's a swing day for the euro dollar. So this zone, I said, could be a buy in order for us to push up a little bit. That's still on the cards, and that might not be a bad idea. So if it does go up into these levels, selling again is going to be an option. The only other time that's going to have a swing day is, when that is. And if it breaks below, then that's going to just keep going until the next swing day in that direction. So with the SP 500 and the Nasdaq, we had Monday for the swing day. So let's take a look at these other ones as well. Okay, so here we are. This is the Dow Jones. As you can see, Dow Jones really nicely. I talked about this zone here as well, 34,898. And yesterday the market, Astros, you could have waited for at least, to right to the end. And then as you can see, that just fell down really nice yesterday. And then that would have been, let's see, right there, that's just 6 o'clock. We had that 3:15, and then this is your 6 o'clock, and that's your 8 o'clock there. 8:35.9. Oops, 8:35.9. Why are because here we are. Sorry about that. That's your 6 o'clock there. And then the market coming into 7. Why? Because the market was closed in the New York session. Okay, so let's see. Now then, nice sell-off yesterday into the New York. And then what? Let's see. As with all indices, we're looking to short this off. Okay, I talked about this level as well. I said this is a good buy kiss zone. We should be selling in this zone. Market sold off. We should be coming down. Target zone 42, 34,498 to 461. So 34. 491 is 34,491 is there. All right, so that's the target there, plus the 68. So that's not a bad spot for the targeting. All right, okay, and that's also looking like a Fibonacci retracement there as well. So what do we want to do? If the market goes up again, selling is not a bad idea. Where to sell is a question. 57.58, 57.59, 35,011 to 78. 35,011 and 78. 35,011 is here. 35,078 is here. Oops. And I can get rid of this. All right, so that's basically it. If the market does go up, we can sell off again. Should you be buying on a weekly pivot? The weekly pivot is not a bad spot to be buying at all. Okay, as you know, I always say, if you're going to buy, just cover yourself here. Also, the market should have like a surprise move towards 1030 due to some aspects coming in. And when it goes back up again, we could be looking for a place to sell. Like I said, those levels could be there. On the weekly, we're a bit in the middle of nowhere, as you can see, in between levels. Retesting the highs of last week is an option. That's why we got those levels marked in. And also, like I said, just be mindful that we could have a double top, but this looks like quite far out. So selling from any retracement up is looking okay in order to go into that direction. Okay, so going into that 34,480 zone is looking good. Selling at the highs is okay. So any good retracement into these levels here, into these levels there is okay to sell off at Astro Hours. If you want to buy the lows where the market bought before at Astro Hours to go in that direction, you can. I'd do it, you know, at the Astro Hour at a place where the market bought before, like the weekly pivot or slightly lower. Okay, so you can just go with the flow, and if that does happen and eventuate, you just better make sure you cover your trades as you go up. Why? Because our bias is to the downside. So by going long around here at an Astro Hour, you're not doing something wrong, but just be more careful, because I think the market's going to, start pushing downwards, especially in September. So want to catch a high and then keep pushing it down this month. Nasdaq. Right, then Nasdaq, same kind of thing. If you think about it, yesterday, that should be a place where that was an Astro Hour. That's 445 yesterday. Okay, and let's see. We're at 315. See, that worked a little differently. 315 is there. And then after that, 8 o'clock down here. So, yeah, 8 o'clock all the way into this zone here. So that was a bit, as you can see, with Nasdaq afterwards, that happened afterwards. There were equal highs here. The market took out the stop losses. So I didn't have this Astro Hour here. I had this one. You see how it worked nicely with the Dow and the SP 500, but a bit messy on the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is, it's like on steroids, like I always say, simply because it just makes harsh, sudden moves, as you can see. So what to do with Nasdaq? If we take a look at the daily again, this is a nice sell zone. I talked about selling either the middle of the channel or the high. They sold on the middle, they took it to the high. Now want to sell again on the high end of the channel as well. Okay, so selling from these levels I think is okay. Just be mindful with Nasdaq, because these targets are really, really close. And all the way down here we've got 55 and 57, and they're not that far out. So 15,376 and Yeah, 15,376 is the furthest this might go. 15,376 here. All right. So coming towards the weekly pivot is what we'd like to see it at. Okay. But if it doesn't do that, just be mindful, because those targets are pretty close. If it does go up, we want to be selling in the highs here. On the weekly, I talked about this level before, so selling here is okay. If it breaks out, we've got room to go up to do a double top, and that's basically even to close a gap here. So this month is like a bit tricky, okay, a bit tricky, but it's a great month really to catch the high, and then we can just swing it down. Okay, so trading the highs on swing days, for example, is a good strategy. Okay, if you want to sell something. So we should go up again in order to test these levels, and then sell off at Astro Hours if we can make it. If the market pushes up, don't be surprised. Bitcoin. Now with Bitcoin, not all the surprises. Obviously, I always say don't buy on the support, so you should have sold this when the market came up, because I said when the market fell down here, we should go up again to sell. That's what they did. If we go back up again into 26,900, okay, that zone is again a sell zone. On the 47 and the 51, the 47, that's 26,400. 26,700, as you can see. So if the market goes back up into that zone, selling it again is not a bad idea at those price levels. Okay, and that's how my attitude is with Bitcoin. Whenever it goes up, I think it should be sold. Okay, so selling it is the best way to go. Also yesterday, the day before, as you can see, if it makes a high that it did before, sells it off. This was the opening market just selling it off. So look for a good place to sell off. If you're going to use the PST levels, then like I said, your first resistance is this 39.65, which is 25.878. So 25.878 is pretty much your daily pivot. Okay, pretty much there. So if we come up here at an Astro hour, selling it is okay. Should go slightly higher than this. Okay. The other option is, if it goes, let's come here. If it goes above that, then you want to be selling it at 47.51, which is your 26,400, 700 zone there. Okay, that's also an option. Your first support for the day is here. So you can see this zone is a bit of a sandwich zone, and that's just 34.25,383. 25,383 is there. So this is a sandwich zone here, but selling it at the tops is a better way to go. On the weekly, 40 is 25,210. So I better put that in there as well. 25,210 is down here. Okay, so there is room to come down as well. If you sell it off, and selling the highs, I think, like I said, is the way to go on Bitcoin as well.